You're listening to Alaska Real Estate Podcast. I'm Chris Story, your host for great adventures in the last frontier. Today, Alaska Housing unveils a new program that you need to know about. Angie Tallant drops in from Fairbanks to share her experience in Juneau, and Dave Summers will summarize this year's industry issues. Remember, if it happens to real estate, it matters to you. Alaska USA Title Agency wants to say thank you. Crystal and her team of title experts all over Alaska understand how vital every transaction is to you and your clients. Find out why so many people are turning to Alaska USA Title Agency. They're online at akusatitle.com. Please say hello to Angie Tallant.
Well, this year's trip was my first time to Juneau ever as president this year. It was really just interesting and exciting to see how this all works. People, back in Fairbanks just selling real estate don't really know how much the state association does on our behalf on a daily basis, and it was just, like I said, it was exciting to see how it all works and how we go there and how much difference we can make by just sitting down and talking to our representatives and explaining, what we are there for and what we need them to look out on for our behalf.
Were you surprised by anything that was said to you, or the access and availability to the legislature?
Yeah, they're just normal people just trying to work for us. A lot of, I know there's tons of politics involved here, but they are just people, and they're just trying to do their job, and they are working hard for us. However, we feel if they're doing a good job or a bad job, no matter what, they are working hard. So going down there and being able to just sit in a room, with them and just talk freely about things that were going on. And then we'd start talking about our own communities, and I'd ask, how people are doing back in Fairbanks. It's just really interesting just to know that that can happen. You don't think of, your politicians as being just people or just somebody that you can reach out and actually have a conversation with.
Exactly. I know exactly what you mean. And to be able to sit in a room and feel the sincerity that they really do want to know what does our organization think, and what do we what information can we bring them while they're there during a relatively short session. So you would encourage people to get involved and make this legislative trip part of their overall experience as a realtor.
Yeah, I encourage everyone to even just get involved in leadership. I was brought in, be mentored by Dave, and it's been just an awe-inspiring experience. It's something that I want to continue doing, and I'm very interested in giving back to an industry that's given so much to me. And I feel as if, at some point in everyone's career, they're going to be at that same point where they should give back, or they want to give back, and getting involved is the first step to do that locally, and then going on statewide and maybe even nationally.
Excellent. All right, Angie Tallant, thank you for your talent, and thank you for your time here today.
All right, thanks, Chris.
Now here with Industry Issues, Dave Summers.
Just recently we had our annual trip to Juneau a few years back, and once we could afford to do so, the Alaska Association of Realtors decided to start sending all our directors and leadership teams down to Juneau for a multi-pronged purpose. One was to meet with the local board and at their monthly meeting and get to know them better and update them on what's going on, to have our board of directors meeting, but mainly to lobby legislators and get out and walk the halls of the Capitol. We have a very profound effect when you do that. We'll bring 20 or 30 people in, and they walk around, they talk to the representatives, they talk to the senators. If we have bills in play, we lobby for those bills. If there's bills that other people have in play that we don't like, we lobby against those, or lobby for change to make them more effective and better. And with the overall goal in the long run of not just taking care of what's happening today and this year, but to make sure that they know that we have a presence in the state and in Juneau, that we're always going to be around. We always want to be educated and up to speed on what's going on, and we care. And if they know that about us at all times, if we come to them, they know to listen and pay attention. They know that we're there to affect change for association and to better the state and the arena, the real estate arena. We don't have any bills that we introduced this year. The one bill that we were getting ready to introduce, we found a better way to take care of it through regulations with the Real Estate Commission. But there were a couple of bills that we were watching that one came up last year, and another came up this year that we did support. The one that came up last year that we were concerned about was the midterm cancellation of insurance. Our concern there was, while we understood the need the insurance industry to be able to cancel policies midterm if a house was abandoned and they were at risk. And keep in mind, when insurance companies are at risk, at some point we're all at risk because that pool of payments has to be spread out among all of us. Balance the needs of that with the needs of the owners, and not make it too easy for those insurance companies to just cancel when they thought the property was abandoned. The idea of somebody moving out and being transferred and the house wasn't sold yet, and then the house appears to be abandoned, was enough for them to cancel. So we got in and we killed that bill last year, and then this year we met with lobbyists for the insurance industry, and we put some language together that we could live with. Now, we're not out in front favoring this bill, we're not pushing it, but we're not opposed to it anymore because we feel there's more balance to it that's fair to the people of the state. A second bill that we did get behind that we liked the idea was a transfer on death deed bill. If you like numbers, that's House Bill 60. And what that does is cut through the probate process. You know, the people are having one of the hardest times of their lives when they lose someone, and the added cost of having to go through probate and the mental anguish of having to deal with that is something that we'd like to do away with. Now, this isn't something that affects us every day as we're working in the business, but this is one of those bills that needed a champion, and we decided we'd champion it because our customers and clients have to deal with these issues all the time. But what it allows the people to do, you can go ahead and have a deed put in place that transfers the property upon your death to somebody that you choose, an heir, friend, loved one, whatever it may be. And there's good safeguards built in there to where you can change your mind later if you get mad at them, or the person receiving the property can not accept it if they think there's something wrong with the property. It's a good balanced bill. It didn't go anywhere this year, but we think next session there's going to be time to move it, and we'll be supportive of it. Outside of that, a lot of our activity has been with the Real Estate Commission. There's a number of regulations that you might want to be aware of, and when I mention these, please be aware that it takes 6 months to a year to put these regulations through, and a lot of these were just introduced at the last Real Estate Commission meeting about 3 weeks ago. They're proposing that it not be allowed to have your trust accounts and credit unions anymore. That law was changed 3 years ago, and credit unions were put on the authorized list of depositories for trust accounts. The current Real Estate Commission, in talking to legal departments, decided that's probably not the wise thing to do. So within 6 to 9 months, I would imagine that regulation is going to go through. So if you have your trust accounts and credit unions, you're going to have to pull them out and put them in a federally insured bank. It doesn't happen very often, but when you upgrade your license to real estate broker or associate broker, there's certain things you have to do, like post-licensing education. Otherwise, you lose that license. Well, the way the law is written now, you lose everything, and you don't even have the ability to revert back to just a sales associate. We felt that was wrong. The Real Estate Commission agreed with us. So the current reg project would eliminate that. If you, for some reason, don't want to or can't complete your post-licensing education or whatever other things you have to do to complete the process, you don't lose everything. You just revert back to your original lesser license. Another regulation they're working on has to do with the reporting of illegal activity. Currently, if a real estate broker sees another licensee performing any illegal act, they're supposed to report it to the Real Estate Commission. The Real Estate Commission feels it's also important for licensees to have the same rule. So if this regulation goes through, and again, this would be 6 months to a year, I think, on this one, if you see another licensee performing illegal activity, forgery, embezzlement, anything like that, then you're supposed to report it to the Real Estate Commission, or your license could be in jeopardy.
My name is Diana Irwin, and I am the Officer of Residential Lending here at Alaska Housing. Part of my job is to help put together new programs, and this opportunity to put a new program came along. It's something that's really different for us here at Alaska Housing. It's the Closing Cost Assistance Program. It is a program that's actually unique to housing finance agencies. There are housing finance agencies in the lower 48 that have, already do this program, so they're kind of old hats at it. And it's a very popular, successful program. And what it does is, that's really different and unique, it allows the housing finance agency to provide an interest rate that can be used by lenders, our lenders who are approved to participate in the program. And with that interest rate, the borrower is able to access assistance funds. And these are funds that don't have to be repaid, but they can use the funds for closing costs and minimum cash investment. And that's what's different. That's the different part, is the minimum cash investment. On an FHA loan, the minimum cash investment is 3.5%. So say, for instance, a borrower or a homeowner is going to have an earnest money agreement where maybe the seller is picking up some of the closing costs, then whatever the borrower's remaining closing costs are, these funds can be used towards that, and then anything left over can be used towards their minimum cash investment. The actual amount of assistance with this program is 3%. So on a $200,000 loan, the assistance would be $6,000, and Alaska Housing would fund that directly to the closing table, and then it would be used to be distributed towards their closing costs and cash investment. It's available for any qualified Alaskan borrower. It's not limited to first-time home buyers. It is a program that's used with government loans, FHA, VA, and RD. At the present time, First National Bank of Alaska is the participating lender.
For all the details and daily interest rates, visit ahfc.us. Well, that's it for this edition of Alaska Real Estate. Special thanks goes out to Sandy Ehrenman, our executive producer. For all of us here at Alaska Real Estate, I'm Chris Story, wishing you health, wealth, and prosperity.